Okay, just like I told you on part one, I fucked up, forgot to plug in my mixer board, so we're gonna just be operating with the audio of the camera on this episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. This is part number 2. We take a dive into Steve and where he's come from and all the stuff he's done in this world. So hope you guys enjoy it. I know I did. We'll see you after the show. This is the Backwards Forward podcast. I am your host, Blake Foster.
And so on the trajectory and the segue of Steve, tell me a little bit more about yourself. Everybody, it's been a long chat since I've got to tell you, but this is my buddy Steve Stogrin, and coming and sitting down in here is something I've been looking forward to for a while, because it's always a fun back and forth, and I feel like our time is always like you live here, kind of. You have a fucking place here, but over the course of our history, you work in the oil field, you work out in Texas, and so a lot of times, you might come and go. You're a busy motherfucker, and so I don't try and button you down. And usually when we're having conversations, it's kind of like bang, 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 bang. We don't really take the time to just sit like this, because there's always something to do, and when there's always something to do, Steve is a busy fucking man. So letting people know how you came to be. So where'd you grow up?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And agreed, and I genuinely, I'm thankful we're actually getting to spend more time and visit and get to have some quality conversations, here and otherwise.
Yeah.
I'll say normally me drunk by a fire is my standard, but this is pretty
In
close.
a poncho?
In a poncho.
That's how you know it's going to be a good night.
Ripped out of my fucking gourd. If you see a poncho come out.
So, you know how I texted you the other night? Like, are you have company, or are you having a proper white man fire?
You nailed it, too.
So, the Native Americans would say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
White man, make a big fire, stand far away.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Native, small fire, stand
I need
close.
to look that quote. Yeah, small fire, stand close. It's almost like a good analogy for life. But no, it was funny that you texted me too, because I literally, typical Steve fashion, 1 p.m. in the afternoon, right before this giant storm's coming in, I decided it's time to do some major tree falling to clear my shooting lanes for seeing animals on the hillside and for my steel targets. So I proceed to fall 5 pretty friggin' huge trees.
5?
Yeah. Big trees. And half of them land in the fucking gully, in the ravine, which I knew they would.
30-inch plus.
Yeah.
Fucking...
On that. No. I'd like to say that. No. These were 12 to 20. They weren't that bad.
Okay.
But they're all green. They were all live trees, so I was thinning. So they fell, how I have that big embankment my brother and I built, they fell against it, so I'm climbing on a loose soil 45-degree bank with my saw, de-limbing and bucking all this shit. And I got a huge portion of it done, and then my friend Sammy, she came from Pagosa, and she's a shit kicker. So she was coming over for dinner. And and I'm like, hey, we were supposed to go on a hike on the ridge. And she's like, I think I'm too wore out for the hike. Is that okay? I'm like, honestly, I said, I'm going to be beat doing this. I said, I'm going to save some work for you. And when she showed up, literally 2 truckloads of green rounds. And I'm not fucking joking. The heavier rounds were at least 80 pounds. Brutal work. So she shows up. I'm already beat. We're loading that. And I was burning, which it sounds like you saw, I was burning green boughs. I'm burning green. And it's just
it was white smoke.
Oh, yeah, smoking up the whole valley. It was like I was trying to signal that Mordor was coming.
Waving the poncho.
100%, dude, just out of control. And then you text me, and I'm like, oh fuck, because I totally would have had you up. But she showed up at 6.
No,
put her to work.
That's why I ask. I know.
Yeah, that's good.
Got to be able to read. So
yeah.
So where did you grow up?
Okay, so I was born and raised in the Yukon, which was Very cool. Right next to Alaska. Super remote town.
Is it Yukon? That's a territory?
It's a territory. Yep. Nice,
okay.
Nicely done. You're so fucking educated. You'd be surprised how few Americans even know that term. Most don't know province, which, yeah. So most of I want to like turn to the camera when I'm being informative. That's weird.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You do it. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's too weird. I can't look at the camera. But
yeah. So born in the Yukon.
Yeah, born in the Yukon. My parents had an interesting story too. They were like, my dad was 40-ish when he had me, so they were pretty old when they had me. They lived in Toronto out east, then Vancouver, and then they moved to the Yukon a couple years before I was born. So they were like, homesteading isn't the right word, but definitely wild northern living.
What took them from Vancouver to...
So I don't know exactly, partly because I'm a shitty son and partly because I've forgotten, but basically I think my grandma, my grandpa, my mom's mom and dad lived up there, and so did her brother. Excuse me. So I think they just wanted to be spending time closer to family up there.
So you, like, British Columbia, then Yukon is above.
Monster, yes, exactly. And then Alaska's to the west of the Yukon. They're parallel to each other perfectly, like they're like straight in line with each other.
And then what part, like southern, southwest?
Yes,
Yukon?
So classic, like the Alaska Highway, which runs from the States all the way through the Yukon to Alaska. During World War II, the U.S. military built that highway. Our town is the first town when you cross the border in the Yukon. It's called the Gateway to the Yukon. Very fucking cool. Tiny town. We had like the most stereotypical northern Canadian childhood you can imagine. Like, it was fucking cool. My parents built their own log home. My dad found an old crane from the 1960s that wasn't running. Spent a week with one of his friends fucking with it. Managed to get this crane running. Bought a shitty old logging truck. My mom drove the logging truck. My dad ran the crane. They felled all their own trees. Brought them back to this piece of land. Peeled all the logs. Like, there's a picture of my mom 8 months pregnant with me peeling logs in the front yard.
That's fucking rad.
So fucking
just
cool.
Big old draw knife?
Yeah.
Just...
everything. They used, like, they had the smaller...
resting on you?
Yeah, basically. Like, now you know I split wood in a poncho when I'm drunk. I'm like, it's like fetal instincts. But no, they built that, like, so that would have been... I was born in 1980, so that gives you an idea. It was like late 70s, prime time, pre-internet, pre-cell phones, like glory days back then. We had rabbit ears, 2 channels. My parents only watched like an hour of TV a week. So yeah, they built... yeah, oh yeah, it was like a thing. They didn't believe in rotting in front of the TV even back then. They didn't love that. So we were always working on stuff. Small community, like 1,500 people, very old school, like long dark winters. So you'd have your community gatherings, people come to your house, play board games, have the fire. We had a big old wood stove, shit like that. Like, what are like the winters like hour? Is it like our like Arctic Circle?
Yes, kind of like.
I don't want to misquote, but I'm going to pull numbers out of my ass a little bit, but I want to say, like, winter solstice at the darkest point, you get, like, 2 or 3 hours of daylight a day.
No shit.
Yeah, oh, it's crazy. And winter lasts so long.
And it's not even, like, a true fucking 12 noon daylight. Right.
It's like...
feels like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Just over the rigs. Well, yeah, good on you.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's long and dark and fucking cold. I mean, we managed to get hammered. They got hammered a couple months ago. They got to minus 50 again. So oh yeah, real cold. Like cold, lots of snow. Yeah, and I mean we had adventures. Like we got to go on proper adventures up there.
Now is it more like Rocky Mountain? No, like trees.
Good question. It's where we were. Right where we were would be a little flatter. There's still mountains, but it's more like if you headed west. You would start hitting into the big Alaska mountains and the big, like there were some big mountains in the Yukon too. Like Mount Denali, which is in Alaska, obviously that's only a few hours from where I was born. But yeah, it was more like big trees.
Plains.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say, like there's forest, a lot of forest, mostly forested. There were some mountains around where I lived, but they weren't like big, sharp, rocky ones. You'd have to
roll more like a Tennessee rolling or something like
an hour or two, and then there'd be mountains. I think I'm showing a bit of an ignorance of our geography. I don't remember the exact details, but yeah, where we lived, where our town wasn't just surrounded by sheer sun peaks. It wasn't like that. But yeah, it was very wild terrain. Like the hunting there, the wildlife was just out of control. Like
Grizzly bears,
crazy stories. Like one of the coolest things about my childhood, a big part of it, was my best friend's family. So my parents built the log home on a small lake that was maybe half a mile across. It was actually two round lakes that formed like an hourglass, so it was called Our Lake, but we jokingly called it Our Lake because we lived on it. My best friend's family lived across the lake. In the winter, they would use a four-wheeler to plow a skate track, and we would literally skate to each other's house after
No
school.
shit.
Yeah, like literally, because we were a year apart in age, so it was like very Canadian shit. They own the...
Hey!
Yeah.
Hey!
Pretty much that's how we would... Yeah, you just knock a hammer on the ice and let them know you're there. But no, they own the most successful like hunting and guiding operation in the Yukon.
Oh, really?
World records out of there non-stop. Grizzly, moose, caribou.
Do you guys have elk up there?
Not really.
The caribou?
Yeah, caribou, moose, grizzlies, all the famous like mountain sheep, Dall sheep, stone sheep.
Oh, really?
Like, high-end, like high-dollar shit. Well, his family had it since the 70s. My best friend was a year younger than me. He ended up owning it. He took it over, owned it for a few years until the government regulations got so jacked up there. They ended up selling it to someone else because they just got tired of dealing with the bullshit. But they had a lease to like 200,000 acres of land they'd managed for 40 years, something like that. So every year, it was a 1 hour float plane ride or an 8 hour horseback ride to get out there was the only way.
No kidding.
And our family didn't really hunt, but my parents were both, they built log homes. They knew how to do all that. Dad was a general contractor. So every summer we'd go out there for about 2 weeks and my parents would build cabins, build fences, and, it was a trade. Like we'd do all that work and then they'd take us horseback and fishing and just being in the mountains.
You ever been on a float plane?
Yes, quite a lot.
Really?
Yeah. It's
just from lake to lake to
100%. It's crazy.
Like full on. That's your commute.
They landed on rivers. You want to talk about like those bush pilots in the aviation community? It's known that bush pilots is a certain category of badass kind of pilot because it's remote. It's usually shitty strips. It's mountainous, bad weather, limited facilities. Right, like not good radar, no good approach control. So it was like. Yeah, those pilots are fucking nuts. And we got to land. I remember landing on a river one time, and it's a big float plane, like an Otter with a big radial engine, 8 or 10 seats. It's an old
wow.
Yeah.
Like from the movie Commando.
100%. Like you picture Indiana Jones, anytime you see a float plane with like the big front end, like...
Okay, so the single engine radial floats on that out just to balance.
Well, down below. So it varies.
So it has like a full boat.
Yeah, fuselage. No, not these. No, they had a fuselage and then struts coming down and then floats under.
Oh, okay.
But I want to say it was de Havilland Beaver and de Havilland Otter were the two big ones, like the quite a bit bigger than like a Cessna 210 or 206 on floats. So these were like the bigger plane on floats. And these fuckers would land them on a river. And I remember them circling the river, and I'm like 10, and I'm looking down, and from the air it looks even smaller. And it is small. Like as a pilot now, looking back at what they were doing, it was extremely high level flying. Like very skilled pilots.
Like super shallow too,
right? Yeah, I'll be honest. The draft on those planes is actually quite shallow. Like they can land in surprisingly, but it's more just current, rough water, not a long straight stretch. It's like, the bush plane equivalent of landing on an aircraft carrier, not as advanced, but still very skilled.
How fast do you think they're going when they land?
Yeah, so I could give you a good guess. Approach speed on a plane like that's probably around 70 miles an hour. Like 50 to 60 knots. 70 to 80 miles an hour. Not too bad. It would vary depending on how loaded out they are. But not bad. Those bush planes...
Because they can get pretty darn slow and kind of glide pretty good.
And they're engineered for that. They're called... I don't know if they technically be STOL, short takeoff and landing, but they lean that way.
So they're only like 120 tops, maybe, right? Like top
slower speeds. Yeah, I would bet that another great question on the Otter and the Beaver because they had quite a lot of drag, but a lot of horsepower. They were probably in the 130 to 140 mile an hour.
Okay.
But what you're saying is very accurate. They weren't built for high speed, long distance.
Yeah,
they're bush planes. Yeah, high drag, high lift for sure. Yeah.
But that's fucking...
Oh, so fucking cool. And they would take those planes to the absolute limits. Because they would load it with thousands of pounds of moose meat and hunters and gear. No fucking joke, man. They
they
had
had
a lot of stories of close calls and like bush. Yeah, they
We
would.
can't get up.
Oh, there's stories of them. I've heard of them doing laps where they literally will come down the lake and try and hold as much speed as they can.
No way.
Yep. And then turn into the headwind and just gun it. And like my Joel, and his parents who ran the place, and then Joel, my friend who ended up running it, have told me stories. I've asked him, like, were there sketchy flying? Both his dad, who owned it originally, and his uncle, who worked with them forever, he was also a highly skilled hunter and guide. Both of them had their pilot's license, and both of them have crashed planes. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Neither one got injured. His dad had the fuel. It ran out. Something happened with the fuel system, and it cut out after takeoff, which is the worst time. Yeah, landed on its nose and then flipped upside down.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and he had liquid pouring on him, and he was terrible. He thought it was gas at first. Luckily, it was just water from the floats, and he managed to get out of it uninjured and called for help or hiked back to base camp, whatever he did. I don't know.
So you have you and your younger brother. Are you the only two?
No, there's a bunch more. So my dad was married way back in the day. I have 3 half-sisters who
Okay.
are all, like, in their 60s. We're, like, decently close with them, not super close. I don't know if there was maybe a little bit of bad blood from my dad's first marriage. I honestly don't really know the details.
They're probably. I mean,
He was in his 20s when he was married.
If you're the one that gets more love than the first batch had, there's some bad blood.
Some bad
there.
blood. Yeah,
Like,
I don't dig into it because I don't care.
I don't
to
even
dig
know
into it.
Dad and this little spoiled little brat.
Yeah. No, I don't even want to, and I don't want to say it. I know it sounds bad, but I don't really care because it's like I don't know the details of how that all went, but I know my dad's been a damn good father and a good husband. Good, our family's been amazing, and we're good sons to him, and he's a damn good dad. I understand his desire to, like, try to have a relationship with them, but there's also a part of me that's like, don't waste your energy, man. Like, they don't care. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm not putting it on them. I'm sure they have their reasons, but also it's like, my dad was, I think, 20 when he got married, like 23 when he got divorced. It sounded fucking crazy. Like, he owned a drag strip, he was making a lot of money, and then his ex and her lawyer took it all from him, which is his story. Who fucking knows if that's all true? But it just sounds like craziness. Like, I don't know.
And well, I mean, I grew up a very cookie cutter, situation, but I can imagine that, like, if they're not your siblings that you went through your childhood with,
Exactly.
that they're
20 years older than me. Like, literally, they were grown adults by the time I was born.
And there's just not, like, there's not that relationship to it and that relativity to it to where it's like, it's easy to come together. Remember the time when like you guys don't have any of those shared experiences, and perhaps those kids grew up with their mother hating their fucking dad.
Probably, yeah.
And you didn't see that side of your dad. And so, I mean, if you don't have that connection through dad, then what fucking connection do you really even have?
And are they going to come along and see us in a perfectly happy family and not resent me or resent him or resent, like, I mean, it's a tough one. And it's hard on my mom too, because she doesn't want to, like, she's a good woman, but also it's like, you only want to see so much of your husband's past, like, not even the 100% ex-wife, like,
I could.
And my mom's amazing, like, amazing mom, amazing wife. Like, I honestly, there is,
Is your mom about the same age as Pops, or?
She's like 4 years. She just turned 80 last year.
Oh,
I think
okay.
She's 80 and he's 84 or 85. I can't remember.
See, my dad would be 75 this year.
Okay.
So here you and I were the same age.
Yeah, exactly. Shows
but,
yeah. He was 40 when he had me, basically. Because I'm 45.
My dad was 29 when he had me.
Okay.
So, funny thing, me and Tyler are almost the exact age difference that me and my dad were.
No shit.
So every time I sit here and I look at my 16-year-old son, I'm going, my dad was fucking 45 when I was, like, he seemed like a grown-up. Like, very different.
That's us being in denial of how old we actually are.
One total side, off subject. We talked about Bill Burr earlier, and his relationship with his father. Did you know that, I'm not 100% certain on this, but I've seen enough detail to at least be able to comment on it. Billy Corrigan, do you know who that is?
Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins, right?
Did you know that those guys are probably brothers?
I thought this was like an internet joke.
From the same dad.
Possibly brothers. Or is it a joke?
Okay, so Howie Mandel had them on, and he had Bill Burr on, and Bill Burr did not know that he was bringing in Billy Corrigan.
Okay.
And Bill Burr was fucking like, what the fuck is this? You fucking kidding me? Like, and they go into conversation about some shit. You can look it up, and anybody else can look it up and get all the details. But Bill William Jr., Bill Burr's dad was a traveling salesman.
Holy fuck.
And he had, according to the shit that I have seen, that is not AI made up, the interaction between Billy Corrigan and Bill Burr. I haven't gone down any sort of rabbit hole to qualify everything that I have seen. But it was awkward enough to believe that Bill Burr's dad had two families at the same time in two different cities, and his brother half brother is Billy Corrigan.
They look strikingly similar, I should say. They do look very similar. I've never seen like side by sides, but like they do look a lot alike.
They're both bald. I mean, I feel like it's a bit funny and it's a bit weird. And I guess like Bill Burr's dad used to be like super into music and da 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 da. That was something that got passed on. I don't remember which one was the bastard family or what. People can go look it up. But anyway,
yeah,
just talking about that. So back to Steve. So you have 3 half sisters. You have a younger real brother.
And then I have an older brother who's 15 years older than me. So he's...
Same dad, same mom?
No, and we didn't find out until like 3 years ago. My parents kept that from me and my younger brother all our lives because they were worried we wouldn't see him as much as our full brother if we found out he was our half brother. So he was from my mom in a previous guy.
Okay.
Which is wild. And like 2 or 3 years ago we found out and we're just like,
no
we
shit.
Didn't give a shit. We're like, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell us sooner? And they were like, you know, we were worried it would affect your relationship. Like, we don't care. So that was just
Did
a
you meet
weird,
him?
wild thing. Oh no, he's been in my life my whole life.
And
my whole life.
Oh, no kidding.
Close, yeah.
But you just didn't know he was your brother?
He was our half brother. We thought he was our full brother. It's so fucking weird that they felt the need
second cousin.
No. We knew him as our brother, but we thought he was our full brother. We just thought he was our older brother, which he is. Okay. But he's our half brother, so he's from a different man, not my same dad. Okay. So it's just funny, and they felt the need to. We wouldn't have cared. But like he was a bit of trouble when he was growing up. Like he got into some drugs and drinking too. He was a 70s or 80s rock trouble. He was that crazy. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, fucking old school Dodge Charger. Him and his friends used to load it with fucking beer and hard liquor and go like get in a lot of trouble. Like crash cars, drunk as fuck with like. Yeah, whatever.
Canadian white gangsters.
Yeah,
just
Metallica,
rocking.
just walking. Yeah. Just rockers. That's what they were. Rockers, they weren't like criminals, didn't break the law, they're drinking and driving and speeding and like crashing cars horribly. But yeah, he'd get in a lot of trouble with that. He never dealt drugs, never did anything like that, but he did a lot of drugs and actually his drug use wasn't like horrible. It was like acid and mushrooms and weed. It wasn't like...
Just call that partying.
Yeah. He was a partier. He was
just rock and roll, rock and roll.
80s partier.
Motley Crue's out there fucking main veining fucking Jack Daniels.
That's right.
Right.
Really not much different than a lot of people who they just happen to take it just a
riding the big hair train.
That's right. Yeah, so when my parents had us, they both went straight edge. Like both my parents, 0 drinking, 0 cigarettes the whole time we were growing up. And
Okay.
they still don't smoke. They'll have a beer or a glass of wine now, but it mostly just makes them nauseous because they don't drink anymore and they're old. So it's
I don't know if I should drive.
Yeah,
honey.
yeah, no,
I've
it's
had a
fine.
half a beer.
Yeah, like they don't even enjoy. Dad has a Coors Light, and like he barely likes it. I think.
I'm feeling it, son.
Yeah, that's funny as shit. But I mean, hell of a discipline out of the two of them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, but I mean, they just were afraid that we would get in trouble, so they did that to like avoid it with us. Which Michael ended up doing fine. But I mean, he was 50, from the age of I don't know, probably 17 to mid to late 20s. He was in a lot of trouble.
That's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's. I you dropped your.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, I share a lot of that same trajectory or whatever. But yeah, the late teen years to the early to mid 20s were. I mean, they don't write books about it, but it's an experience that you don't want to tell your kids about. So then you two grew up, and then like grade school, like elementary, grade school, high school, all that stuff.
We moved south, so when I was 12, my brother was 10, they moved us out of the Yukon to southern British Columbia. And they did that because our small town had crazy ass partying and drinking and drug problems. There's a big native population there, which we're friends with them. They have truly tragically relationship with alcohol, or a tragic relationship with alcohol, I should say.
The northern natives is...
It's brutal.
Yes.
And then we won't get into it, but the way that the government fucks them and the way their tribes fuck the people over, it's horrible. They're stuck in a cycle of like welfare and alcohol. It's horrible. Nightmare fuel. And of course we're friends with them, so then like they have problems. The white kids, I'm not blaming them for it, but everyone gets sucked into it all together. Small town. As you start getting older, there's less cool stuff to do, so pretty soon everyone's just drinking and doing drugs. Like, of my class of, I don't know, let's say there's 20 or 25 that graduated high school when I left. Like
25?
Yeah, something like that. Oh, it was tiny, man. Small. It was probably smaller than that. But like 3 graduated. Like, that's how bad the drinking, and it was bad.
What was like the primary source of like income for like up there? Was it logging? Was it mining?
In fact, yeah, there was logging, there was mining, and then whatever, there was some tourism, like our town was the Signpost Forest is what it was called.
But just kind of survival.
Yeah, survival, just living. It was, I assume the like primary source of like the primary income aside from support incomes would have been, like mining, logging.
Like gold, right?
Yeah, some gold, and then I'm a little straight up, I can't tell you, I'd be pulling it out of my ass.
No,
I think maybe some diamond, maybe some classic, just copper, iron ore, I don't know.
But I mean, that's, like in the main part of the United States, it's kind of like, what do you do for a living? And then it gets into some of these areas like living, like we just survive.
Yeah.
Like this area used to be just about survival, and there was no business, there was no industry here until my understanding. Well, if you go back to the early,
mining
the late, so you go back into the mid to late 1800s or so. Mining was a big one. The silver mining, mostly like up 550 Uray, that stuff. Silver mining, but then it was also there was wagon. The wagon trains used to come and deliver, stuff to people that were working silver mining, everything. And that's where Pagosa was the original Fort Lewis.
Oh, okay.
Like we have Fort Lewis College in Durango.
I didn't know that. That's what Pagosa used to be called, was Fort Lewis?
Well, it was, and it wasn't even considered all the way a fort. It was kind of just a stopping path, and they had soldiers, but it was just a stopping on the trip to Pagosa, and then the railroad came in. And when the railroad came in, like the Santa Fe, Durango, Silverton, I think that goes down to Santa Fe, not Albuquerque. Once that came in, then like Pagosa was bypassed, and it went from being kind of a military fort that graduated into a little bit bigger military fort. Then it was kind of obsolete. Then it became a logging town.
Okay.
And then, but again, like there was an industry, so I can't. That's why I was wondering what was going on there. It was more survival than industry, right?
Well, I mean, no, I think mining, forestry, fisheries, that would be a pretty accurate. I mean, there was a lot of money in all of that.
What kind of fish?
Salmon. Like you got your West Coast.
Like river salmon? Or like
some in the river. I think they're called, I'm going to fuck this up, but they're called kokanee or steelhead when they're in the river. And
we have kokanee here.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff. I mean, really, it would have been like more ocean fisheries, although Yukon doesn't actually have a harbor on the ocean, but like northern British Columbia is all that area there.
Do they go upriver and spawn, and you guys have that kind of season?
Yeah, a lot of good. The fishing there's amazing. Like, I mean, then there's all your like grayling, rainbow trout. That's what we grew up catching.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very like the harvesting and the resources are just unreal because there's no one there. Like wild blueberries, morels, wild mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
5-gallon pails of those effortlessly.
Really?
Whereas down here or south.
Did you used to go collect them?
Oh yeah, my parents. It was like a tradition, and they knew like, ironically, both things after a forest fire. Year or two later is when your mushrooms and your blueberries grow the best. They would bring us when we were little tiny kids out there, and we'd have big 5-gallon pails and then little 1-gallon ice cream pails. We'd each be carrying a pail, picking blueberries, and then bring them back, dump them in the 5-gallon. Yeah, my parents used to harvest.
So to this day, do you like mushrooms?
Oh yeah.
Do you?
And those morels.
What is it?
A morel is like. Have you had them much before?
I have not.
Okay, they're almost like a truffle. They're so rich. It's one of those things that's hyped up and expensive, and it's as good as the hype. It's
okay.
Fresh sauteed morels is like, I mean, they sell them for, I don't even know what you pay, $70 a pound. They're fucking crazy expensive. They're second only to a truffle, I think.
Because I remember this one show, it was called can't remember. It wasn't Dirty Jobs, but it was something like that, and the different things that people did around the country to go make money. You got these people up in Maine that are going, and when the tidal waters are fluctuate like 20 feet, they go out in these mud flats and they're getting fucking worms that are like this long and 50 cents a piece, and these guys are getting $400 a day and fucking worms by going out. Anyway, one of them was these mushroom people that would go out and collect. Excuse me. One group of people's out like West Virginia getting like ginseng and shit.
Okay.
But then you have the people on the West Coast doing they're mushroom people, and then they're grabbing them, foraging them, selling them to restaurants, and then the guy had my little mushrooms in the Rocky Mountains.
Yep.
And you see morels in there. But then there's
all to find, and they're the best one.
And then there's all the ones that look like them that aren't, that are fucking deadly.
False morels. They're literally called false morels.
They are.
Yeah, 100%.
I've looked through that brochure a bunch. The only I found. I don't know all the different kinds of mushrooms I have found. The ones that I could identify, giant puffball.
Oh yeah.
Found one this big, totally legit, good to go.
I've heard they're delicious too. You slice them up and saute them.
I would like to know how the good cooks do them, because I don't know.
Just YouTube that shit.
I mean, I've fucking cut them up, and you have to do a bunch of research on them, and what is this? Is this anything? Is it that? And then it was finally okay, cut it straight down the middle. It should be pure white. No stem, no bulb, no anything through it. Should be fucking pure white, cut like bread, kind of doughy, and went through those motions, and I'm like, holy shit, that's what we have here. Okay, I felt confident enough to try it. I don't know that I would say it was delicious as much as there's a weird natural gain that you feel by eating mushrooms. Like there's a health, there's a brain, there's something different about eating mushrooms that, like, there are gains. I think a mushroom is closer to, like, a mushroom is closer to a human than a mushroom is to, like, a head of lettuce. They're not the same. Mushrooms, like typical vegetables, plants, all that stuff, they use, like, photosynthesis. They live off of carbon dioxide. Mushrooms do not. They live off of oxygen.
Shit. I know they're very advanced. I know that. It's like a very complex organism, right?
It's something really weird. Like their composition is closer to, like, human flesh than...
We probably shouldn't be eating them, but fuck it.
No, I think they're... I think you need to, just like anything, just like wild game, like, I think you should find a way to harvest a mushroom and leave traces behind, or if you're picking an immature mushroom, or a mushroom that is mature for eating but not mature for seeding, or germinate, like putting itself back in, I think there's something to, like, you should have a healthy dose of practice of, like, okay, like, hey, I'm gonna fucking take this mushroom, but then I'm gonna let this thing sit over here for X amount of time, and I'm gonna allow spores to get out, so that I'm not just taking and not allowing it to, because they're all growing. Nobody's fucking farming them.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know, or people are, whatever. But
yeah, I get what you're saying, like wild product.
You're harvesting from the forest, like, you know, we have dates and seasons and times when it comes to harvesting meat.
Yeah,
not such a bad idea to just regenerative practices on mushrooms. But anyway, a little weird tangent. So
yeah,
you guys are going out doing the mushroom.
Wow.
What age did you guys turn around and move to, like, southern BC?
That was when I was 12 and my brother was 10, so right before high school, basically. Moved to southern British Columbia to another beautiful area called the Okanagan, which is this really warm valley, big lake. It's basically summer paradise. So we went from the darkest, coldest place in Canada, give or take, to the literal warmest, sunniest place in all of Canada. So it was like beach paradise. So our high school years, as far as, like, the outdoors and the lakes, it was heaven. Like beaches, like stuff you wouldn't expect to see in Canada. So that was amazing. Like, made some really...
Like, is that coastal?
No, it's inland. It's about 4 hours east of Vancouver, so south central British Columbia, almost right in the middle. Only about an hour from the American border, hour and a half, give or take, from the American border, just north of Washington. Very warm region. It's like a microclimate. It's similar to Italy. Very similar to Italy.
Really?
Wineries everywhere. Vineyards covering all the banks next to the lake. Like, it's fucking paradise.
It's warm.
Warm as shit. Yeah, it'll hit 100 degrees in the summer, and then it cools down at night, which is nice. It's fucking gorgeous. It's seriously paradise. If the taxes weren't so high and, like, the dollar wasn't so, like, I would have stayed there if I could have made good money. I only left to chase money. Like, it's paradise.
So, middle school, high school,
yeah,
graduated from there.
Yeah, I was a bit of a science nerd, science phenom, like when I was, which this is part of the story. When I was like 12, I started building remote control submarines. I had a remote control bulldozer. So it had a remote with 3 levers, forward, back, right? And it was a little bulldozer. When it broke, I tore it apart, and I had 3 motors and a remote with 3 switches. This is when I was like 10 or 9 or something, up in the Yukon still. Well, I took a milk jug and I sealed those motors into it and propellers and built a remote control submarine. And it worked. It was cool. I used solder, like lead solder strips for weights to ballast it. Got it perfectly set up, and I built iterations of it. I'd use the same remote and the same motors.
You ballast it to be able to dive, or...
yeah, just to get it...
neutrally buoyant.
Yeah,
okay.
and then the motors would do the rest. So,
okay.
Super simple, basic way to build a submarine. But
Did you put the motor on the bottom or at the top?
It varied. I built a lot of
Because you had the propellant?
I had two at the back, which would give you your rotation around this axis.
Okay, left,
and
right.
then usually one on the top straight up, but then over the years I changed that. I'd like tilt it back so it could add forward thrust, different stuff
And
like
get
that.
deeper into the water.
Yeah, just variants. And I mean, the cord was only 6 feet long, so it couldn't go super deep. But I built that when I was a little kid.
I wasn't even thinking about a fucking cord.
Oh, yeah, that's a cord. Well, wireless, they all have cords. Wireless frequencies don't go through water very well. So all submarines, even the highest end ROVs have cables.
No shit.
Yeah, there's no good way to send that signal through water. At least not that I know of. Maybe acoustics, but it wouldn't have good fidelity, I don't think. But anyway.
It needs to be autonomous or else it is not going to get...
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if it's not manned, it almost always has a cable for data and power transfer.
You always picture yourself being inside.
Oh, I had all kinds of fun. Yeah, so when we moved to southern BC, they had a big science fair because it was a bigger place, bigger schools. My parents were like, you need to get your submarine dialed in, make a nicer body, and enter it in the science fair. So I get a Dawn dish soap bottle that was all aerodynamic and good looking. I put a clear dome on top so you can see inside of it. I dial it all in, get a nice big fish tank, make a nice billboard. We'll end up winning that science fair, and then I went on and won like a BC provincial engineering award.
No shit.
Got to go tour Simon Fraser University's marine engineering department, which is the most prestigious marine engineering department I think in Canada, at least one of them. It was out on the island, on Vancouver Island.
Just a very prestigious, nonetheless.
And that was when I was like 13. And I did all that. So then it was always, I thought I would be a marine engineer building submarines. Well, somewhere along the way, before I graduated high school, I found out how little money they earn. And I'm like, fuck that. Because I was starting to realize...
You could do something cool and be very poor.
Yeah, I don't want to be poor. And I was like, I was already working at my first full-time summer job when I was 15.
Where at?
Well, the first one I went back to the Yukon and I worked at a hotel just bussing bags for tour buses. And then I was the host at the restaurant when the buses weren't there. And then after that, I worked on a turf farm, and they just had the 30-foot aluminum joints of irrigation pipe, and all I did all day long was just move those pipes.
Like a sod farm.
Yep, sod farm.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd get up like early in the morning on my motorcycle, because that's what I had, drive to the sod farm and work that. And it was a fairly tough job in the sun, but whatever. So when I graduated high school, I went and did a year of just community college general sciences, like calculus, all that shit. Just because I didn't want to go to SFU and spend however much. It's just expensive. And we didn't have money. Like, I was going to have to pay for all of it. My parents didn't have enough money to just pay for school. So I did a year, and I'm like, this is fucking boring. It's a waste of time, and I'm not going to make any money. So I got a job pumping gas at literally the Petrocan. I had a red polo shirt. I did full service. I'd run out with the squeegee, all that shit. And I busted my ass. I loved it. And... I don't know. You want me to tell you how I got in the oil field, right? Like, is this? I'm kind of.
Well, we're gonna go there. I'm gonna have to pee here pretty quick.
Yeah, if you want to go pee.
So, but this is how
I ended up in the oil field. It's actually kind of fucking crazy how I ended up out there, because I never even heard of the oil field. I didn't even know what it was.
Break time.
So you gas station.
Pumping gas.
Full service. My brother actually worked in San Diego at it was probably one of the last few full service gas stations, but it wasn't, the whole gas station wasn't full service. It was like, you pull over to this lane for full service,
okay,
you run in, check your oil, wash the windows, fill up your gas, or you pull over to this lane for self-serve.
Yeah.
But I know that, like, Oregon, for the longest time, it wasn't, I don't know how it is now, but for the longest time, it was against the law to, like, pump your own gas, I thought.
Yeah, they used to do that, and I think it was, I don't know if it was a safety regulation or what, I don't know, but I've heard of that too. That's what it was. It was all the pumpies, all the fucking station attendants.
Pumpers union.
Yeah, the pumpers union. But no, so, yeah, I'm pumping gas there. I'm not hating life, it's fine, I didn't make any money, but I'm just, killing time. And I knew I was
getting some tips.
Yeah, just killing time. Well, on the regular, young guys would come in these huge lifted fucking trucks, and they're like 21, 22, and we didn't have money. Like I say, my parents never owned a new vehicle, we didn't have a lot of money, so me seeing a 20-year-old in a fucking $70,000 truck is like unfathomable. They all have Alberta plates, which is a province next to us, it's the Texas of Canada. one day I just said to one of them, like, hey man, I don't mean to be nosy, but how the fuck does a guy your age afford a truck like that? He's like, the oil field. I'm like, what's the oil field? He's like, drilling rigs. I'm like, I don't know what that is. He's like, yeah, oil rigs out in Alberta. I'm like, all right. So I get home that day or the next day or whatever, and I said, because I'm still with my parents, obviously. And I said to my mom, like, do we know anyone in the oil field? She said, your Uncle Joe drives truck. She said, that's the only person we know. I said, all right, well, I never met the guy, don't know shit about him. He's in Edmonton, which is northern Alberta, like cold, gnarly northern Alberta city. It's like not the prettiest city. So I call him up, I'm like, hey, Uncle Joe, this is your nephew Steve. He's like, oh, hey, how you doing? And I said, Mom tells me you work in the oil field, right? He's like, yeah, I drive tanker trucks. And I said, is there any way you can help me get into that? He said, yeah, absolutely. Come up to Edmonton. You can see he lived in a double-wide trailer. He's like, you can come stay in my trailer. We'll put you in truck driving school. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, all right, cool. So I had a Volkswagen Jetta, 89, Volkswagen Jetta, 5-speed transmission.
Diesel?
Gas. It was so good, though. I know what you mean, but it was so good because it was still so efficient and cheap, reliable. So I pack all my
four-wheel drive?
No, front-wheel drive.
Fucking Canadians.
You don't need four-wheel drive in a car like that. Hakkapelitas, good winter tires, that thing will go fucking anywhere. That thing would off-road like nothing else. So I load all my shit, say goodbye to my friends and family, drive whatever it was, 17 hours to Edmonton, staying with my uncle, and I spent 1 week in the very large, crazy city of Edmonton learning how to drive a big rig. So it's bobtailed, it was just a tractor with no trailer, and I'm bombing around the fucking city with an instructor for a week, get my class 1, or class 3 actually, body job, get my truck driving license. First job I get, I'm working for this farmer. He's supposed to be oil field, but obviously the old man just was full of shit. Because I was literally living in his basement, running a tractor and picking rocks for like $12 an hour by hand. He had a back truck, an oil field truck, but we almost never ran, so I got to use it like 4 hours a week. It was a shit show. Call my uncle, I'm like, hey, I said, can you help me find something else? This isn't really paying what I thought it would. He finds me a job working for this trucking company in a very remote, like it's called Rainbow Lake, Alberta. And it's like half an hour from the Northern Territory next to the Yukon. So you have the Yukon, and then the Northwest Territory is now split up into Nunavut and shit. So it's fucking remote, gnarly shit. I go work up there, and now I'm like unleashed as many hours as I want to work. I'm running a truck by myself, wide fucking open. I think my longest shift was 39 hours straight I worked, and that was in fucking tanks with breathing air, chipping up concrete. It was the most dangerous fucking shit you've ever seen. My first 2 coworkers that I lived with got blown to fucking smithereens and killed on Christmas. Like, 2 grown-ass men.
Wait. Reset. What? Yeah. You were in the trucks,
so
chipping concrete?
So my truck, yeah, I know I'm not explaining. My truck was a big, like a sewer truck, but much more powerful. So it's a big engine, big vacuum tank that would suck really hard. I went out to drilling rigs, service rigs, gas plants, and used it to clean shit out. But then, like, we pump cement in oil field jobs down the well. I didn't know any of this then. I know how it all works now, but I roll up and they're like, yeah, you need to clean this shale bin out. It's a big concrete or a big steel bin, like 30 feet long, 12 feet wide, with I don't even know how many tons of concrete in it. And I'm in there manually chipping it up with fucking pickaxe and shovel and a flat bar or a 5-foot bar by myself, doing like ungodly physical fucking labor. And all the roughnecks and derrick hands, if you're hardworking, they're just gonna let you do your thing. So right. I did. And I remember the very first one, I did it all in one go. And I was like, only driving, of that 38 hours, I probably only drove 3 hours. So it was literally 36 hours of fucking back-breaking fucking labor. Dead of winter. I go to the company man with the ticket, and I'm just like white-faced, just covered. And he's like, I said, oh, I'm done. I had him the ticket. He's like, 38 hours. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, wait. And then he clues in, which is funny because he's doing what my job is now. He's overseeing the rig. He's like, wait, did you not leave? I was like, yeah, no. I said, it's all done. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, don't ever do that. He's like, that's so... He was freaking out because it's dangerous. You're not supposed to work that many hours. Anyway, it was just a lot of that. A lot of really high-paced, hyper-dangerous shit. I did shit once a week that if that happened on my location as a company man, I would get fired and our company would we could get shut down. We could lose our operating license over shit we did every single week. Like, I was working in H2S poisonous gas with breathing air with no safety watch, no radio, no cell phone. Like, one false move, I would have been killed instantly.
Because what you were doing should have taken 4.5 days.
Yeah, and
you did it in a day and a half.
At 19, run that big rig, the shit.
And so is it all full of like gases from pumping, like methane and all that
evil shit?
All that flammable, explosive.
Yeah. Well, so there's a gas called H2S, and it's like the most famous thing in the oil field. It's called hydrogen sulfide.
Okay, yes.
And like 200 parts per, I can't remember the exact numbers, but basically 200 parts per million will knock you unconscious, 500 parts per million, you stop breathing instantly, and 500 parts per million is like nothing. Like, if you had concentrated H2S in this can, or like some solidly like 5%, and I'd crack this can, we'd both be on the floor within 2 seconds.
Isn't that what...
We would die.
I don't know if I should say, but isn't hydrogen sulfide, isn't that like what they're getting from the fertilizer that they make explosives?
No.
Is that okay?
No.
I'm thinking
it's unrelated. I'm trying to think of which. Ammonium nitrate is the famous one.
Yeah. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
But hydrogen sulfide, I've heard that.
It's just a nightmarishly poisonous gas. It comes from under the ground. Not every formation has it, but areas have it. And if it's a bad area, it's crazy and it's super dangerous. Like, West Texas has a lot. Where I was has a fuck ton, like a crazy amount of it. So it's really a...
Because there's that quality of
it's just
oil.
Certainly.
Same with coal, right? Like...
Yeah, it can occur in coal, I think. It can occur in like a lot of other areas. Like, famous ones are pulp, like to do with wood processing. It can show up. Sewer stuff, it can show up. It's killed people in those areas. But the oil fields where it's like the most concentrations, the most widespread, the most hazardous. So anyway, a year of that. Super fucking dangerous. I had a lot of close calls. I ended up... My career kind of ended. My truck driving kind of ended. I was on my way out anyway. I was working at a gas plant, and me and this young... It was the company's owner. And the trucking company I worked for was actually pretty big. Courtesy, they had like, I don't know how many trucks. Well, the owner's son, who was 18, is my swamper, so my helper in the truck. We got sent out to this really remote gas plant. You had to go on ice roads in the winter or helicopters in the summer was the only way to get there. So it's quite remote. And we're mixing caustic soda, which is a powder that when you mix it with water, it makes a really strong base. Opposite of an acid, super corrosive, super dangerous. And we're mixing 2 big pallets, I don't know how many, 2 tons of 50-pound sacks. We're mixing it into a 45-gallon drums with water, pumping it through these cooling towers to clean it. It was a big turnaround at this gas plant. A yearly maintenance or biannual or whatever the hell it was. So me and him do this for 2 days. It's minus 40. We both right away, I like got pieces of it were like melting into my skin. I got blood running out of my gloves. I'm like, holy shit, this stuff's fucking dangerous. I've never seen it before. It's beads. We're both working with it. He's smart. He's like, fuck, this is scary. We make it through the whole job. Mix all this caustic over the course of 2 days. Nothing bad happens. We're like, holy fuck, we did it, because we were sure something was going to happen. Well, my truck had a manifold where you could open valves, and at the end of any job, I would just open that manifold and wash up. Well, I was so cold that powder from that chemical had been collecting all over my face, and all I had was a shitty little dust mask. And I didn't know it, and I bent over, and we're like kind of finishing the job, and there's some bosses standing around, and me and that kid, I can't remember his name, well, I grabbed that water, and when I splashed it in my face, it felt like someone just threw a pot of boiling oil in my face. Immediately starts melting and burning my fucking face. I closed my eyes, I'm like freaking out, but I know because it was like bad foreshadowing in a movie. Like for 2 days we'd had like weeping sores where blood's coming out where this chemical's landing on us. So now I'm like, all this is happening. I stand up, I'm like, and I didn't freak out because I knew how important it was to get to the first aid trailer to flush it. I mean, I could have maybe tried flushing there, but I don't know. I stood up and I'm like, somebody help, I got it on my face, and no one does anything. It was like a nightmare. I'm just standing there, my face, I'm like, eyes closed, face is just melting, burning so bad. No one does anything. I stick my head out, I'm like, someone fucking help me. No one does anything. And then I just take off running. I run into the side of another truck. I like smoke into it. I bounce off, literally like can't see anything, bounce off, stick my hand out, and I'm like, I realize, and I've been in several like life or death situations since then in my life, like very serious situations, and I know how it is. Most people freeze up. They either freak the fuck out and run away, or they just freeze. That's how the reality of human nature.
They don't go into fucking that mode. They go into.
That's why there's first responders. That's why there's people who are trained, because people need to be trained to not be like that. So I, in that moment, at that time, realized, like, I'm going to have to save myself, literally. So I stick my hand out and I just scream, like, intensely. I'm like, someone take my fucking hand. And when they took my hand, I'm like, once they had my hand, I grabbed their hand and I'm like, take me to the fucking safety trailer. I literally had to direct a 50-year-old man. So he starts walking and I just yank his fucking arm. I'm like, fucking move! And made him run. So we're running. My face, I can literally feel the skin melting on my face.
No shit.
We run to the fucking trailer. We get to the safety trailer and he tries to make me take my boots off. I'm like, fuck you, get me to the sink. And I go in there and I bend over and my hands are just, I remember feeling it. I like pull the water to my face, and when I went like this, I could just feel like blistering, peeling skin, and my hands are shaking. I don't know if I'm blind because I haven't opened my eyes yet. So I'm sitting there like, did I just lose my fucking eyeballs? Because if you get that shit in your eyes, you're blinded like instantly. So I wash and then I just like slowly open my eyes. I can see, I'm like, holy shit, and my whole face is just like peeled red skin. Where the dust mask had been and the vapors had been going past, both of these were just two open wounds, blood just pouring out of both sides of my cheeks. Both of my eyelids are just peeled off completely, like all bright red flesh. My lips, my nose, like all the delicate skin is just.
And this is all from the dust that came off of when you're chipping out.
As you're pouring,
as you're mixing that shit. Yeah. A little bit of
and
part
because
one,
it was minus fucking 40. And I wasn't sweating, that dust collected without getting activated. So it was just built up on my face without me knowing it. How the young guy, I don't know if it was because where I was standing closer, maybe he was handing me the sacks. I honestly don't remember why he didn't get all of it on him. So yeah, so it's fucking horrible, really bad fucking shit. They take me to the hospital and they're like, you're going to be...
Surprised you got facial hair.
I know. You would think it would fuck. It was
like you don't look fucked
I've got an old like actual photo of it,
like a Polaroid,
like an old school. Just developed film, whatever the fuck that's called, 24mm. I don't know,
whatever.
So the hospital gives me this giant tube of shit, kind of like polysporin, and just have me just douse it for 2 weeks. So I do that. I like slather this shit on. It heals up fine. Obviously, I don't look like a freak. I go back to that same gas plant 2 weeks later, and this is after a year of dodging fucking bullets. Like I say, my first two coworkers got fucking blown to smithereens on Christmas. I had to hang out with their wife and daughter over Christmas, so they're all just fucking...
Killed dead.
Yeah, blown to fucking smithereens, and the only reason I wasn't killed is it was Christmas. I could drive home, but it was too expensive or too far for them to fly because they were from the East Coast. They were Newfies from Newfoundland. So they stayed and worked over Christmas. I went home. Well, while I'm at home, I get a call from the boss's wife, sobbing, John and Terry. I can't remember. One's name was Terry for sure. I don't know what the other one's name. I think John. Dave and Terry, John and Terry, they're dead. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's just bawling away. She's like, they were at the battery and they climbed up and they'd gotten on top of a tank that I ran for a year with a grinder and started grinding. They didn't purge the tank. They didn't do anything. It was full of flammable gas and it just detonated and blew them both to fucking smithereens. Killed instantly. And I would have been the one. And that's the thing. That's not me trying to be like cool or dramatic. Like,
I'm
19. I would have been on top of that tank, not the 40-years-olds. Like,
but you might have been the one that also fucking made sure to purge the tank.
No, not a chance. I would love
just
to.
Luck.
No, luck. Pure luck. I only made it through all that by the grace of God / luck. So I'm at the plant.
Guardian angel moments are weird in life.
Yeah.
But so
go back to the plant, thinking I dodged another bullet. There's this big pressure vessel. It's like a giant propane tank, and I'm running a hot oiler unit and a vac truck. I'm going up because I'm the young guy. There's another truck guy running this high-powered hot oiler. He's actually just pumping hot water, but they can heat whatever they want. I've got the vacuum hooked on one end. Well, I climb up on top of this big man grate at the end, and I'm going to throw myself on top of the tank to hook his line up. Well, there's this 6 or 8 inch steel flange capped over right in the middle, and I grab the top of the tank, and you know when you're throwing your leg to throw yourself up on top of something, it's like as hard as you can ever throw your leg short of you trying to knee someone's fucking skull in. When I go to throw my leg, my kneecap hits right on the edge of that iron flange, so that perfect 45 degree. With every ounce of my force, I throw my knee into that, smash it right on my fucking kneecap.
Oh,
And now that I think about it, that driver wasn't in the truck because I was by myself. I flopped back and like, I don't even know how long it took me before I managed to gasp enough air and to start screaming. I've never felt pain like that before or since to this day. No, not even close. It was the most painful thing I've ever experienced. I crawl off of this fucking thing, crawl over to my fucking big rig, and I like, we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's an operator, but I don't know where he is in the plant. I crawl myself up into my fucking truck, a big rig, and I can't push the fucking pedals. Like, I can't do anything. My leg's so fucked. So I have to crawl back down out of this big fucking truck, like just bawling uncontrolled, like in so much fucking pain. I'm like going into shock almost. I crawl around until I find somebody. Yeah. And then they load me in the bed of, or not in the bed, in the back seat of a truck. We drive 3 fucking hours to that same fucking hospital that just treated me for this. Doctor's like,
the guy with the face.
Yeah. I smashed. He's like, he scans me and my knee is full of blood. The ligaments are like all traumatized, but somehow I managed. He's like, how you didn't shatter your kneecap. He said, for the damage you did internally from hitting it that hard, he said somehow your kneecap's intact. But my knee was so fucked I like couldn't walk. I don't even know how long it was. So I left. But before I left, I saw a guy in a white pickup truck with a nice white hard hat. I would see them. I walked up to one of them like, hey, don't mean to be nosy. What do you do for a job? I'm an operator. I run oil wells. I was like, how do I get your job? He said, go to SATE in Calgary and get your Petroleum Engineering Technologies diploma. So I went back to the man camp, called my mom, had her look into it. She signed me up. So when the knee thing happened, it was like all kismet or fate. I go to SATE and then I start my Petroleum Engineering Tech in Calgary. So that's like how I moved up to the next level.
So how was that? I mean, is that like a 6-month class? Is it like a 2-year degree?
It was a 3-year program, and this is all going to sound cocky. It was a 3-year program that they condensed down to 2 years the year I went.
Oh,
and
no
it
shit.
was the most intensive, gnarly fucking program. Like, straight up, we had University of Calgary engineering students come and fail out of that program because it was just so overloaded. It was so insane.
Well, students don't have field knowledge.
Well, it was partly that, but honestly, it was like, okay, my first semester was physics, calculus.
What?
Oh, it was petroleum engineering. Like, first semester, let me see if I can remember them all. There were 7 courses. It was physics, calculus, engineering, chemistry, electrical engineering, reservoir engineering, drilling engineering, and like geology. Or drilling it. It was like hard. Oh, no. Physics, because it was fundamentals to start with. Physics, calculus, chemistry, electrical, like electrical engineering, fluid dynamics, and then maybe reservoir engineering. But it was like 40 hours of class time and like 30 to 40 hours
That's
of
like
homework.
fucking...
It was so fucking...
over 3 degrees.
It was insane.
Like...
It was absolutely fucking... We started with like 138 students and I think 35 graduated. Something insane like that.
It's got the attrition rate of the fucking Navy SEALs.
Dude, 100%. Oh, it's fucking... It was absolutely fucking brutal.
Like 20% success rate.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was so insane. Yeah, so
No shit.
Went through that program.
I was wondering if you'd... Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not an engineer. I have an associate's or technologist diploma. But it was, I researched all this. You'll start to see a pattern in my career. I found the highest paying potential program. And then when I was done my first year and I was like kicking ass and getting, I started getting scholarships and bursaries because I performed well. So like all got paid for, after I did some. Then I just took the course syllabus and found the highest paying thing you could get with that degree, and then I found the biggest company that did that, and then I applied to them, and that was how I got my first job out of college. So it was like I was just trying to level up.
So you go from chipping shit, grinding shit, being cleanup guy, being low man on the totem pole, finding your opportunity, going to college, school,
performed quite well,
taking on courses that are not applicable to Roughnecks.
No, this is how you get the higher level.
And I mean, it's not where dumb people go to earn money.
That's right.
I mean, a lot of people that actually are good in math in school and try to pursue any sort of mathematical career don't end up in a field that's that fucking dynamic and diverse, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, some of these maybe were base courses for mathematicians in certain ways, maybe throughout high school or college, depending on their math levels. Like, I mean, my brother was a math guy and was like, you know, calculus in high school or pre-calc or whatever. So you go from
Truck
Yukon,
driving.
British Columbia, pumping people's gas, truck driver, hazardous material mixer guy melting your fucking face off.
Yeah, fucking retarded.
And then like some other stuff too. Like, I mean, that's very intellectual shit that you had to find your way through. Were you Were you a good student in school?
In high school, other than the like science for shit, in high school I didn't really apply myself very much because it just felt like a waste of time. I know that's a classic trope you hear from people, but like,
It's my story.
yeah, when I was in college, I was the unequivocal top performer in the entire program. Like, I got every single bursary and every single scholarship I was eligible for. Like, after the first semester, that first 4 months or whatever a semester is, I got 6 A's and 1 A minus. So I had like the highest scores in the entire program, and then I just applied for every industry. Like, all the oil companies and operators, they gave bursaries and scholarships to like incentivize, because the program was very connected with industry. Like, the companies would come to our college and tell them what they wanted them to teach us.
What do you think was the switch for you to go from just basically what you're saying, like you're just a normal boy in high school where none of the shit makes sense. I don't really fucking care. I don't see how it's relevant. I don't understand it. You're just going through the motions of getting through high school, and then being a top performer in a higher education program. Like,
Yeah.
what was that? Because that's always interesting to me, dude. Because,
Yeah, 100%.
like, for me, I'm the same way. I was a person that always, my bedroom was a fucking disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And now I want my shit to be as organized as possible. I was a horrible fucking student, didn't pay attention, didn't see relevance, didn't understand any of it. And now, there's things that I get that I never understood before. Being studious is not a strong point of mine, but what was that? What was that switch that got you from being a normal boy to...
It was all on the same path, but it was a sequence of events I can actually very clearly perceive. When I was 19, like when I had those epiphanies about like, well, I was going to be a marine engineer, build submarines, and then I found out you make 80 grand a year. I basically was looking at life and I was like, life is complicated. Not everyone has the answers, all this, but then I realized there are certain inevitabilities. One inevitability is I'm going to have to work and I'm going to have to earn money, period. Until I find some other thing or some other answer, realistically, I'm going to have to work. So if work is an inevitability after high school, right, that's what we do. We all work. I was like, if I'm going to have to go to work, I want to make as much money as possible on there. That was it. That's literally what motivated my first couple decisions.
Did you notice a switch from like going from the Yukon, like growing up there, and then your parents all of a sudden moving down to southern British Columbia? Did you notice like all of a sudden money had been talked about more than it ever was before? Like before it was survival up there, did it all of a sudden no?
I mean, that's a really good question. And I feel like my parents were like your classic, like lower to middle income, where it was considered rude rude to talk about money, which we don't need to get into that. I think that's all. No, that's like rich dad, poor dad shit. People are like, we're trained to be worker bees. So they never really talked about money a lot. They didn't talk about business a lot, right? So I wasn't raised with all that stuff. My parents were smart and hardworking, but they just didn't have that like entrepreneur's mind.
I was raised on we can't afford that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like that, right? They were very hardworking. They didn't, it wasn't like we were always wanting for something. Like they always, we had a good roof over our head. We had a good life. But no, it honestly, I can say a lot of that just came from my own perception of it. Not because I was some like brilliant money guy, but just like I say, it was just me facing reality. I was like, if I have to go to work, I want to make money. I'm not trying to be a fucking marine engineer and make $80,000 a year. That's stupid. Like, I'd rather go chase real money. And then I had always thought, which I'm still, life's okay. I always thought I would end up with some business or be an entrepreneur and, what's the word? Cause exponential growth to where I wouldn't have to just grind it out. Mm-hmm. Like, I've done well grinding out the 9-to-5 thing. Like, I made good money in the oil field, but I don't want to just do that. I've wanted to do something else for a long time. I just haven't figured out what that is.
It's
until now, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I don't. It's always a grind.
Yeah.
But look, if there's something that you're passionate about and you can have fun with it, and if you're truly passionate, like you can get away with some of that element of a grind. But I mean, it is, and. Guys that are worth $100 million, grind.
They bust their ass.
I mean, guys that are worth $40,000, fucking grind.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So, at some point it is about. I mean, there's a balance, and there's, I don't know, there's entrepreneurial, there's a drive, there's focus, there's market, there's all these variables, but and there's always happiness is one variable that's some people calculate into their equation and some people don't.
Yeah.
So you go from doing all the shit, working all these places, you go to school, you come out a fucking scientist,
fucking good degree,
damn near, and then like how was that all of those sciences, all those things, because you after all that school, you didn't become a person that didn't have their fucking hands on. So how did all your hands on, all that gain of information and growth, and then becoming a hands on again? And how did that transition for you, like going from learning and the knowledge and application?
So the schooling was extremely valuable. It was a highly intense program. I put genuine effort into it. For the first time, it was the hardest I've ever tried at school. I was insanely proud of it. It was genuinely one of the proudest things I've ever done in my life, my performance there. So it did teach some grit, some intelligence, some ability to, didn't teach intelligence, but I proved to myself that I was capable of taking it to that extreme. I left it all in the field. I couldn't have tried any harder.
That you weren't just a fucking bootlicker, fucking grinder, dirty face.
There's a certain validation. Well, and I mean, I always knew I was, fairly book smart, fairly scientifically smart, right? The shit I did when I was young. But this was validation. It was getting to compete in the majors and actually giving your all, right? I really put my heart into that schooling. And it was expensive. I paid for it all. That's why I was motivated. But anyway, it was access. So I gained information and knowledge, but it was access. That made me eligible for like the high positions. And I took the syllabus for that program for petroleum engineering tech at SAIT, and I found the highest paying job. I saw the name, it was MWD. I didn't even know what it was. It's running these specialized downhole tools. I found the biggest company that does it. I applied with them, got an interview, got the job, and like my first year out of college, I made $140,000 at 23 years old. Like, and then it was just up from
You were
there.
only 23 at this point.
Yeah. I went to Alberta when I was 19, worked for a year, then went to school. Roughly started when I was 21, graduated when I was 23.
Break time.
So good break. We covered a pretty solid dose. We did get into how you got into the oil field. Before we get into that all the way, like school, high school, like did you do sports growing up? You and your brother, were you into sports or not?
No, I was a late bloomer. It's actually one of the more humorous parts of my like development or growing up. I was fucking tiny in high school. Like when I graduated 12th grade, like 17 or whatever, I was like 5'3", 130 pounds. Like, I was fucking tiny. Like, try and picture how small. I was like as small as the smallest 8th grader.
You were 5 pounds heavier than I was, and
No way.
like 8 inches shorter.
Fucking, you must have been a string bean. Oh, I was fucking tiny.
I was like 5'11", like 125 pounds.
Holy shit, yeah. At least you had some height, but still, yeah. I was small, I had glasses. I got contacts in the 12th grade, and that was when I just started to physically, like, change. Like, I started working out, started getting a little bigger, but yeah.
But no hockey, no baseball,
too
soccer.
small to play hockey. Wrestled a little bit in the 12th grade, and it was okay, it was fun, but it was too late.
103s.
Whoa.
103 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, man. We don't do kilograms.
Yeah, no. That was fucking light, whatever it was. But no, I just didn't, I just physically was not big enough. And I know there's people like, oh, we make up for it. It's like, no, you can't play hockey when you're that small. It's just like football. Like, you're only going to be, there's limits. And it's expensive.
I don't think people understand how big pro hockey players are.
Yeah. Or how
these guys are
physical that game.
6'4",
That game is fucking
6'5", 220, 240.
That game is, I don't know, I think you could argue it's more violent than football. I don't know, they're both violent. But hockey is a very physical sport.
Yeah.
And you get your high speed, and I'm not a big hockey fan, but like you get your elite ones like Gretzky and Sidney Crosby, and like, yeah, they have enforcers protecting them, but even they're pretty dang physical themselves. Like, so it's like even the small guys are scrappy.
Yeah.
But anyway, no real sports in high school, or more about like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just dumb shit with our friends. Didn't drink or party
Music?
in high school. Music, late bloomer on that. First album I got was from my troublemaking older brother. It was Metallica, the Black Album, is that what it's called? It had Enter Sandman. It was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. We snuck that because our parents didn't let us listen to rock
No
and
kidding.
roll. Yeah.
Was religion a big part of growing up?
Yeah, both my parents. My mom's very Christian, like a
Okay.
good version of it too. Neither one of them were like the judgy, hypocritian types, like very down to earth, wholesome.
They're lifelongs, not reborns.
That's right. And they're good about it. Like, they genuinely put their money where their mouth is. They help people in the community. They didn't do it to like try to push their shit or, be better than someone. They were genuinely like solid. Wholesome.
Okay.
Yeah, good Christians.
So then fast forward, we covered that one. So then fast forward, finished school.
So graduated college, scored a really good job starting out. And it was good. It was intense. It was running these. So that was when I was really out on the rigs. I was running these downhole tools that go down into the ground, and it's how we measure. Basically, once you get into the earth, when you drill down, you actually steer the well and make it go sideways and make it go all kinds of directions.
Really?
Yeah, it's fucking insane. Even now, after all these years, I still think it's crazy that we can even do it. So I ran downhole sensors that
based off of soils or what? Did you ride beams of soils to steer it, or you?
So there's a few different things. Primarily, you think of it, it's just purely a 3D thing. So the sensors and the tools measure their inclination. So if you're vertical, it would be 0. Sideways would be 90, right? Mm-hmm. So they measure inclination. They do that with gravitometers, three accelerometers that measure the Earth's gravity in an orthogonal axis down the tool. And then you have 3 magnetometers that measure the Earth's magnetic field. And then the accelerometers, the gravity tools, they determine what portion of the magnetic field is in the horizontal plane, use that based on local magnetic field strength and dip to figure out your magnetic orientation. So you have your physical, like 3D accelerometers, finding your orientation, and then your magnetometers, and then they do that to find a position in space, but it's not an absolute position in space. You start at 0, and then each subsequent survey is like leapfrogging off the last one. So you're plotting your well bore in space, and you're following a predetermined well path.
No shit.
It gets fucking so much crazier. That's like the surface level. It's fucking insane. So that's your just your physical position in space. But then you also have sensors that measure other stuff. Like the primary next sensor is gamma radiation. It measures the native radiation in the soils, and different formations have signatures. And once you've mapped one, then that gives you like a flow, a roadmap for subsequent wells. And all of that's talking from down there to the surface. With you've got mud pumping through the drill.
Where did you start applying your physical science at?
You mean like the diploma itself, the college degree?
Well, like where did you hit the field following your
Halliburton.
Your schooling.
Biggest company I could find, highest paying, biggest company. I just picked the most prestigious company and applied with them.
Okay.
And because I did dang good in college, so I got like pick of the litter for the companies.
Was that north of the border? Or?
Oh yeah, still in Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah. So I graduated college at like 23, worked up there for 4 or 5 years. It was 26. I'd been freezing my ass off. I always wanted to move to the States. And I started searching. I wanted to go overseas. So there's a big part of the oil field that's international rotator pools, where you rotate around the world on 28 and 28 schedules. The first company, or the main company I found, was Baker Hughes out of Oklahoma City. They had an international rotator program. I reached out to them, told them what I had going on. They responded. They're like, yep, come work a year for us in Oklahoma City. We'll get you a work visa, sponsor you, and then after that you can go into our international rotator pool and work all over the world. I'm like, hell yeah.
Halliburton, 2003.
Yeah.
You're 23. Or no, 26 now.
No, I was 23 when I started with Halliburton.
Okay.
Yeah, so like...
2003?
Yeah.
Right, so we're going into Iraq.
Yeah, Iraq, KBR.
Halliburton, KBR.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
And you know what's funny is I didn't even know. I didn't even make the connection. And I was big when September 11th happened. I remember sitting in my college dorm. We were freaking out. I was fucking furious and sad and all the things. But I didn't even make the connection.
You were in school. Where were you at? What were you doing when fucking...
I perfectly remember it. I was in my dorm. My best friend Landon from high school, I talked him into coming to SAIT with me for this program, which he was not. Like, you had to want it. I'm pretty proud of this. I helped him graduate. I'm talking, I fucking did 50% extra work just to make sure he passed all his... We worked together, but anyway, him and I are in our shitty little 2-person dorm. We were in the most crappy fucking... Oh, such a shithole, but it was so fun. We're sitting there eating breakfast or doing whatever. It was 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, and then it came on, saw the first plane hit the fucking towers. Like everyone, we thought it was an accident, right? At first, we thought it was a transport plane, and then the second plane fucking hit, and then of course, now your head's spinning. We were just fucked up. We were crying and fucking upset. It was
really?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's bad. I've always been
you guys took it very so personal,
hard. Oh yeah.
Like you were
100%
U.S. citizens.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's an attack on.
I would have been ready to rock and roll and join the military over that at the time. If it would have made sense, or
that's crazy.
Oh yeah, it was huge.
I always wonder how the rest of the world observes that. If they're just oh fuck me, fuck, or just but to hear you guys take, I wonder how much do you think there's a difference between Western Canada and Eastern Canada on that level? Do you think it's kind of...
I would be like kind of, what's the word? Guys, theorizing. Western Canada's more conservative, so you can make that argument. They're probably going to be more pro-American.
Feeling more pro-America than French Canada, kind of.
Yeah, Eastern Canada is our like liberal power centers, kind of like the power centers in America. It's the same deal.
That's where like Parliament, like everybody resides. Okay.
That's where all our fucking shit happens. Yeah.
They're all speaking French.
A lot of them.
You're the Western Canada's the Canadian rednecks.
Yeah. British Columbia is, decently liberal. And it's obviously all changed over time, right? The whole country shifted a lot, just kind of like America. It's like...
But I mean, like, there's very different versions of, like, BC, right?
Sure.
Like,
I mean, there's Vancouver.
There's Wyoming Cowboy, and then there is fucking...
Jackson Hole.
Seattle Coffee Shop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 100%. It's just like here, the cities tend to be more liberal, and they tend to be the power cores. Vancouver, Toronto, Ottawa, all those places are overwhelmingly liberal. That's just how it is. But yeah, I would say as a whole, and again, not to get into this because it's just too much, but like, I think it's calculated that America has turned on itself and Canada has been turned against America. We used to be like brothers or cousins. This whole anti-American shit is just this fucking New World anti-Western bullshit in Canada. Like, I have my views about what's going on in Canada, but like, it is not in Canada's interest to be fighting with America. It's fucking stupid.
I mean, it's the same goes for America too. Is stop treating fucking Mexico and Canada like they're your fucking redheaded stepchildren too. Right? Treat them a little bit more like your fucking neighbors and your brothers.
Yeah.
And not treat them like they're your... But without going down that, because we can...
That's
another topic for another day. Right. So you get into the oil field, and without us taking this podcast to being 12 hours... There's some things we got to cut out and get to.
Yeah, we can start accelerating. You can start asking the questions, accelerate the story.
We do need to... at what point did you go... Okay, because citizenship of your respective country is a big deal. And I don't know any person in the U.S. that has ever sought out to gain citizenship of another country. Like, I'm sure they exist, but I've never met them. I don't understand it. I understand that people may be born as certain citizens and work their way into American. But I've never met anybody who's left their citizenship that they were born into to become a citizen of another country. Like, spoiler alert, you are a fucking U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
Born, raised, grew up Canada. We've already gone over all of that. At what point did, like, American citizenship enter your mind?
Okay, so... And that's a great question. I've always wanted to be an American. On some level, I've always known it, like, my parents see in a classic, like, you not knowing an American who's gone to go somewhere else. Not all, but some, especially in modern times, Americans, and it's not all Americans' fault either, take it for granted how amazing it actually is here. America, I wouldn't trade American citizenship for any other country in the world, and it's not even fucking close.
Even Homeland.
Fuck no. Canada's a fucking joke. Everything costs 3 times as much. Taxes are triple. The dollar's worth 40% less. The laws are fucking horrendous. Our medical system is a fucking steaming garbage.
But it's free. Your medical system is free.
Yeah, so is fucking used dirty urine-soaked mattresses next to the dump are free too.
So are plastic fucking vodka bottles on the side of the road.
100%. Those are free too. Get as many as you want. Yeah, it's a fucking garbage heap. And it's not free. because you're paying for it with your obscenely overpriced taxes and your fucked up cost of living. Yeah, my parents grew up, I kind of went on a tangent. My parents grew up every year, so not a lot of people know this, I only know this because they did it. Every year the US has a visa lottery where certain countries all around the world get allocated a certain number of lottery visas where you just enter the lottery, and if you get picked, you get American citizenship or an American
What?
visa. Yeah, we could go Google
What?
that at some point, but yes,
No.
my parents entered that lottery every single year their whole lives to try to become a US.
Your parents did?
Yeah, to try to become Americans.
Every year of
Like,
their adult life.
that's as far as I know, whatever years, 100%.
30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I did it for 30 years. I don't know. I'll ask them. I should ask them that because I don't actually have the definitive answer. But yes, so I grew up knowing that. We grew up driving down the West Coast to fucking Washington, Oregon, California, and it's just paradise. It's glorious.
You guys did vacation.
Yeah, we road tripped all the time.
That's where you guys went on vacation.
We'd go into the Yukon. Or into Alaska. And here's something silly. In Canada, fireworks are banned. You can't own firecrackers. You can't own bottle rockets. You can't own all this shit. So when we're little kids, we're like, this is fucking stupid. Why can't we have firecrackers? So my uncle would smuggle us bricks of fucking black cats across the border. And then my brother and I would meticulously unwrap every single firecracker because we didn't want to waste them and blow them off one at a time. Like, we grew up idolizing America. And in hindsight, we were right to idolize it because it's better in all the ways that I thought it would be better. And then some. To actually live it, it's like, shit. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I wanted to be an American. I chose to.
As long as you can remember.
As long as I can remember. Always wanted to be an American. And then I have.
Do you guys have U.S. flags at your house?
No, it wasn't like that. Because that would be like, I don't want to say it would be dishonest, but it wouldn't. I don't think they even would have thought of doing that, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be real because the flag means that much. Like, I have an
it's
American...
like stolen valor. Like
maybe. I don't
wearing
think we
fucking fake military outfit.
It wouldn't even have crossed our minds to do it, but yes, it would be something like, it wouldn't even be real.
Disingenuous.
Yeah, and it just wouldn't it wouldn't be real. You wouldn't even start to think to do it because it wouldn't be real. You know what I mean? And when I was coming to America to work, I don't think I even really considered the possibility that I could become a citizen. I don't think I was even thinking that far ahead. I wanted to go into that international rotator pool. Came to Oklahoma City, went to work for Baker Hughes, took a monster pay cut because I was like elite level equipment and tools with Halliburton. I'd worked my way up, I was kicking butt. When I came to Baker Hughes, took a step back. 6 months in, only reason I came to work for them and they gave me my visa was that after a year I go into that international rotator pool, right? So 6 months in, I'm making a third of what I was making back in Canada at my old job. I go to the boss, I'm like, hey Henry, just want to check in about my, overseas stuff. He's like, what are you talking about? What overseas stuff? I'm like, the international rotator pool that you and, I think her name was Mary, the head of the HR, something like that, wasn't Mary, it was a woman. I'm like, the rotator pool that you and Mary and I talked about, that's like why I'm here. He's like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but you're not going anywhere. I own you now. He literally said that to me in his office in Oklahoma City. Because I was a good performer, right? I was a good hand, and he had a hand, and that's what they needed. And I'm like, look, man, I straight up told him, because I was on a work visa, and he was holding that hostage. Because if you're on a work visa and you, especially for a high-end job, it's not like fucking, fruit picker, you can't go to work in America unless they go through like a whole legal process to prove why they need you and why they can't find an American to do your job.
Show your value.
Yeah, Baker Hughes used lawyers to do it, so did Halliburton. So I told him, I'm like, look, man, you get this squared away or I'll be gone in less than 2 weeks. He's like, you're not going anywhere, blah, blah, blah. I knew another guy that had worked as a company man for Halliburton down in the States. He's like, they're looking for EM hands, which was my specialized tool. I'll shorten this. Basically, I reach out to the coordinator for Halliburton in Oklahoma City, and I'm like, hey, I heard you're looking for EM hands. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm an EM hand. He's like, no, you're not. Because there were only like 3 people in America who could run that tool at that time. And they were flying Canadians down from my office to run these tools. I'm like, yeah, I said, I worked in NISCU and ran EM for 4 years. He's like, no fucking way. I'm like, yeah, seriously, I can run it all. I started naming
He's like,
shit.
Nobody would come to my fucking doorstep if they did that. Like,
100%.
We have a recruitment department.
No fucking way. Exactly.
Yeah.
They were paying like think how much money it was costing. They were having to fly Canadians to America, pay for everything just to get them to try to teach their southern hands how to run this system. Because it was all invented in Alberta.
Same thing Mexicans are doing for fentanyl.
Yes. Yeah. So
I'm trying to. No, I'm. No.
And he's like, so you really can run that? I said, yeah, 100%. I told him how many years, what I could run. He's like, I will start you. He's like, when can you start? I'm like, now. I don't care. He's like, we got to do the work visas. I'm like, but because it was the same company, Halliburton in Canada is just a subsidiary of Halliburton America, they were able to do this like fucking rabbit hole shit where it was like instantaneous. Their lawyers drafted it like the next day and got me. I was originally on I think a TN1, like North NAFTA was the visa, and I went to what's called an L1B, which is some kind of certified foreign worker. It's a more robust work visa, lasts longer, it's more... Anyway, he's like, you could be an F-16 tomorrow, which is 2 pay
We're
grade
in the NAFTA shit.
Yeah.
Because that's not even anything anymore.
No.
And North American...
Yeah, it's called the
Federal Trade Association or whatever.
Yeah. So he's like, as soon as you can start, I'll give you your F-16, which is 2 pay grades above what I was earning in Canada 6 months ago. So now I'm in America, about to get bumped 2 full pay grades, 1 from the highest pay grade in that whole company, and be making American money. I tell Baker Hughes to go fuck themselves. I pop over to Halliburton. The first year I started with Halliburton in the States, I was $200,000 US a year. And I was 25, I think, or 26. Yeah, American. So I go to work for them, work in Arkansas, do like a year there, meet a chick, get married. I'm married for 7 years, get my citizenship. We were about to have kids, move to Canada, have a home, raise them up there. That all fucking falls through. The oil field collapses, lose the house we were getting ready to buy, all that falls through, and then I get a divorce because I didn't want to have kids in the fucking suburbs, which she would have been perfectly happy to do, and I didn't want to do. Yeah, and then
without diving into that,
got my citizenship.
Because the relationship part's like you and I have talked about it, and I mean there's just okay, so. There's been things for Bailey and I where our timing in this world has been so off. And then, like, when we moved to Colorado and like, our timing in this world was so fucking right on, right? And you and I have talked about it before of, like, your previous marriage. And I forgot you were actually even, like... married. I knew you were in a relationship, but the timing that you described was just it was just fucking off, man. It was so off. But like the citizenship element of it,
proudest day of my life.
Okay, I gotta, Rusty, what do you want to do? I know you're going to want outside or back in the minute I let you outside. I'm going to let you out real quick.
Oh.
Come on, Russ. Let's go.
Good.
You want to go outside? I'll let you. You've been scratching at the door. Come on, Russ. Come on. But like one of the coolest fucking things is knowing you and you're one of the most American people that I've ever met. Even though maybe born, raised, whatever in Canada. Like and then not to dive into the relationship element, but what was the citizenship path like for you? Like, it had to be more than just marriage, right?
Yes. Now, do you mean emotionally or do you mean logistically?
Logistically. Because I think, like, especially right now, like, everybody's seeing, like, all this fucking ice shit and all. Hoagie, shut up! Everybody's seeing all this, fucking ice shit and everybody's acting like, okay, you should have motherfucker.
What is he trying to do? Or is he trying to go up into the...
No, he wants to go outside.
Oh.
So, guess what? You're a lot more quiet outside the door than you are inside of it. No, but
it was a lot of work, and I did it all myself.
It
was a big deal.
So, like right now, hot topic. Everybody's screaming about it. Well, it was Charlie Kirk, and then it was Ice, and now it's Epstein, and everybody's just on the flavor of the month.
That's
but
right.
like, nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever gets down in the nitty gritty. I can't tell you how many times I've heard white people talking about or American citizens talking about their opinions on immigration and everything else, but very rarely do you ever get the perspective of someone who's ever walked through that fucking door.
Yeah.
So let's go like prior to being married. What was that like? What was the path like?
So it was all of it, and this is a hot topic for me and always has been. It was a lot of work and it was complicated, but to be clear, I never fucking once felt like I was owed goddamn citizenship. I never once thought I was owed the right to fucking work in this country. It was a goddamn fucking privilege every fucking second. I lived in constant seriousness and reverence of the fact that if I fucked up, if I got a DUI, if I fucked something up, if I broke the law, if I made a mistake, that I would lose my work visa and lose my ability to ever have access to this great nation again. I respected the fuck out of every law, every immigration law, every native law, speeding, you name it. I fucking respected every last thing. And if I'd fucked up and someone had said, you just fucked up and now you can't become a citizen or you can't enter this country, I would have started fucking bawling, packed my shit and left the fucking country and knew that I fucked up my privilege to have access to this country. No fuck from Mexico deserves any right to come into this country illegally for any fucking reason ever. And if they're here, they should be fucking gone. Period. If people think there's anything wrong with the current laws or the way that things are run, we can work at changing them. But until they're changed, they're the fucking law, and none of those people have a right to be here. Period. Unless they came here legally. And that's the end of it.
You followed the law.
I followed
through
the
getting a
law.
work visa.
Yeah. And then when I became, and I was working, I could have become a citizen through that path. It would have took about an extra 3 more years than I did. So I got married. So the way it normally works is work visa, green card, citizenship. Those are the steps. And you can, depending on the work visa and how long you're here and the nature of the work you're doing, on and on, there's a lot of complicated factors, then you can get a green card. Once you have a green card, you're basically on your way to becoming a citizen. It's a question of how long it'll take, depending on how you got your green card. If you got it through a work visa, it takes longer. I want to say 3 more years. If you once you get married, pretty much right away, maybe within a year, you have the right to apply for a green card. You get your green card, now you wait a certain time. If you're married and that's how you got your green card, I want to say it's 3 years after getting your green card.
So, how did the path work for you?
I was already on the path towards it, like I would eventually become a citizen, but because I got married, that kind of reset everything to a faster point. So once I got married, I immediately did the paperwork and applied and got my green card. And then once I got that, 3 years later, plus or minus a couple weeks, I went and did my citizenship test. But I did all the paperwork.
Okay, but you had to do a citizenship
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, so
we got interviewed to validate our marriage. I had to submit stacks of fucking, which I was proud to do. I did it. I didn't use an attorney.
Oh, but yeah.
I did it all myself. Cost quite a lot of money, just in filing fees was, man, I feel like that was in the thousands, maybe less. I don't know. But like I remember one of my final things was a manila envelope with like 5 other envelopes in it. It was over an inch thick of forms I'd filled out, like all the paperwork.
So I have that like you got your visa, you're here, you're working, you end up being involved in a relationship.
Yep.
Okay? How much did you pay her to get your green card? I'm fucking with you.
That's
so no, you end up involved in a relationship, and from everything you've always told me, like, everything was fucking great and intentional, and this was never a plot or a ploy to try and gain citizenship. It was 100% legitimate, and the only reason that you're still not married is that the timing wasn't fucking right, right?
Well, I don't know if I would even put it like that. I think ultimately we weren't a good match for each other.
Well, I appreciate your honesty on that, because when we were talking, it was kind of along the ways of, this is based off of stuff you've told me, is that, like, look, we are married, and then we're talking about starting a family, but then work is questionable, location is questionable, lifestyle is questionable, so the choice was not to just completely dive into the family dynamic, because there were some circumstances that weren't gonna put you in the fucking position that you wanted to be in order to start that family, and so maybe
that's a very accurate analysis. That's 100% correct.
And that's where I just kind of see it as timing, and maybe I wasn't in a relationship, right? So I mean, I don't want to pretend like I know everything, but it was some of these things, especially in retrospect, have to be simplified to a degree of just going, like, the fucking timing wasn't right. You know, like, Bailey and I have a lot of dynamics as to why we didn't sell a house before we fucking bought a house in Colorado. There's a lot of family dynamics and finances and things that put us in positions along the way, and I chalk it up to just the fucking timing wasn't right for us to do what we wanted to do. And fuck, dude, when we decided to move to Colorado, a bunch of shit lined up, and the timing's never been more right in our life. Bailey and I now are at over 25 years of being together.
That's awesome.
And here we are, just on the verge of, we're a little over 6 years in living in Colorado. And out of 25 years together, there's been, in that last 6 years, where we're fucking, the stars aligned. Like, they'd never aligned before. And if we were to look at the fucking 19 years before that, they could have never been more misaligned.
Yeah.
You know, even though, like, our relationship and things and a lot of stuff has been good, the timing has never been right for us to make certain moves in life. And, you know, they just happen to be right a little bit later. So I do chalk it up as timing. I wouldn't call it destiny. I would just, fucking, whether it be growth, circumstantial, life, like, whatever it is, like, timing is right or timing is wrong at sometimes. So shit doesn't go exactly the way you thought it was going to go. But you go through the process of gaining, like, on an emotional level, like, was there anything going through your head, like, okay, are you a dual citizen?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not like you had to give up one for another. That's got to make it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I would have done it without even batting an eye. I couldn't fucking care less about citizenship at all. I couldn't care less. It gets you nothing. But
who do you root for in the Olympics?
America.
In the hockey?
America. Nothing even comes close. Canada's not a real country, man. It's a commonwealth. Who's on the back of the Canadian dollar and every Canadian bill? Are you gonna Google it, or have you got a Canadian bill? There you go, attaboy. Tell the audience who's on the back of the Canadian bill. Other side. Or is it not even her? Should be the Queen of England.
The back?
Let me see.
That's Neil Armstrong, dude.
That better not be Neil Armstrong. That would make sense. That's a Canada arm. Well, the point is, it's the Queen of England, but this isn't the Queen of England. But he's probably some English fuck.
He's probably a queen.
He looks like one. He is Sir William Laurier.
What?
Some British fuck. But anyway, the point is, Canada is a commonwealth.
Okay,
It's not a real country. It's still under the control of England. It's in there.
Is it really?
Yes, Canada.
I know it's got Parliament and all that stuff.
Australia, New Zealand. They're all part of the Commonwealth. They're
still
English. Yes, they're technically supposed to be free countries, but Canada is.
But you feel like you're governed. That Canada is governed by. And it's the UK.
Yes, but more importantly is the spirit of our nation. Canada talks about being like elbows up, like tough or whatever bullshit, but like Canada never wanted its own independence. Like how Scotland won its independence from England, although I think Scotland's still part of the UK, so I don't know about that anyway. Well, but America,
the way United Kingdom,
but the way America,
right.
The way America won its independence from England. There was no like please and thank you. It was a legit war, and America is no longer, at least on the surface, subservient to England. Canada is. Canada is part of the Commonwealth of Nations. It's literally a part of England still.
Do you think
it's a mind, that is the big psychological, because people ask me, what's the difference between Canada and America? And I think that's the single most important difference, is that America won its actual independence and became its own powerful nation.
Do you think it, like Canada is still very divided between the French side, the other side, and where, like...
There's just old bad,
there's got an identity crisis?
It's just old bad blood. It's just ancient bad blood. It's kind of like the North and the South. The same tensions you might feel from some people in the North and the South are similar in the East, in the French and the English in Canada. Because it was literally France and England fighting over that land, right? So it's like, I don't know, I don't pretend to know the historical details, but roughly I think the English won, and roughly they allowed France to keep certain land or keep certain shit, or like the French get to still have their shit there. So there's just old animosity. It's very similar to the vibes of the North and the South. Most people don't really think, but you ask most Western person what they think about French people, and they'll call them fucking frogs. Like, my dad hated them all his life. Me and my brother, we try to be nice to them. We've had bad blood with them. It's a thing. It's a thing. Like, if you go to Montreal, like to the French capital city-ish in Quebec, I haven't been there, but apparently they have quite the animosity towards Anglophones, to like English speakers.
Like, being from San Diego, I don't like anybody from LA and North.
Yeah, there's always tribalism. It's just human nature.
We're real Southern California.
Yeah, there's always going to be tribalism, right? It's just human nature. But yes, there is some of that. And it's old. It's been there forever. And there's been like in France had or Quebec had a separation movement. They wanted to separate from Canada, but they wanted to keep collecting like money from our federal government, but
Right.
being allowed to make all their own laws and choices. Like, it was bullshit, and everyone's like, "Fucking leave, get the fuck out of here. No one wants you." But
So going back to it, like, what was the, like, becoming an American citizen? Like, what was your test like?
Oh, the test wasn't bad, but like, okay, so it's your classic set of questions. It's like any standard kind of test. There's a pool of, I don't know, 100 questions, 150, and you get asked like 30 kind of deal or something like that. So you basically just study all of them, and then you're going to get asked. Well, when I went in for my interview, the guy interviewing me was this like 60-year-old former military who was like, almost seemed either Samoan or Polynesian. He was like some kind of
Islander?
Yep. Super
Pacific
cool
Islander.
dude. And like, I think he asked me 3 questions and just stopped because he could tell I knew my shit, and so he just knew. And he knew I wasn't faking it. They could tell. And then he interviewed me and my wife, and instead of asking us a bunch of questions, he started telling us, started getting all teary-eyed telling us about his fucking, how his mom's family, or his wife's family, didn't accept him and wouldn't be there for his wedding. So then he ends up bawling, this like huge former military guy. He's crying, me and my wife are crying, and it's all like this sob story, beautiful moment. And then he's like, "You're good to go." We were in there for like, we could have been in there for 30 seconds, but he was like telling us his sad story, so we were in there for half an hour.
Who's the 16th president of the United States?
I don't know. No, none of the questions were that hard. They were a lot easier than that. I'm sure there may have been. I remember studying and being like, "There's no way I'm going to fuck this up."
Abraham Lincoln.
Was it? That's Is it really 16th? Let's say. Shit. Where is he?
No, I wouldn't have asked it if I didn't know it.
Yeah, I guess so. That's valid. That's cool. Who's the best? Who's the best president in American history? See if you know the answer to that.
The best president. Well,
You don't get to count George Washington because he was a president, right?
no, I would have to go with FDR because that is the only exception to an 8-year term that we've had in our entire existence of the United States. Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Which one was he?
He's right there.
Okay. Yeah, mine's Theodore Roosevelt. Without question.
Okay. So I had Justin, the guy that I work with, on, and his like grandparents or great grandparents homesteaded in Colorado,
Shit.
and they have been they guide, they hunting guide,
Very cool.
just like your buddy up in the Yukon.
So
Justin's grandpa guided
no.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Fuck. That's
And I was asking him, like, what did they hunt? He's like, everything. He's like, that's before seasons, tags,
and the animals were so plentiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's cool.
yeah, Justin was like, my grandpa. I think it was grandpa. It could have been great grandpa, but one like guided
Either way,
Teddy
that's
Roosevelt
amazing.
through old Colorado and homesteading and stuff like that. No, Teddy was a stud. I mean, the most. See, the thing that I always wonder, this is where it gets into the whole tinfoil hat shit, is you're going, okay, did you dedicated these places as natural parks, national things, wilderness stuff that machines can never touch. You're the godfather of what a fucking national
Nature
forest or
conservancy.
national, yes. But is that where the largest gold and oil reserves are within this country, and you just made sure that you protected them from any and all human invasive elements. Because it sure,
Possible.
if you were to ask me, I would put my money on that. Is that like, no, they're national parks. They should be preserved, but nobody is going and mowing down El Capitan and fucking Yosemite to get uranium, right? But we'll do it
as a strategic move to strategically reserve it for us, and only our like leadership know about it. And then if we
100%.
have to,
100%.
we go in there. I mean, that would make me like him even more.
I
like him even more.
I don't think it's a bad move.
Fuck
I
no,
do not think it's a bad
kidding?
move.
It's genius.
I don't think it's a bad move, but it also
If
is
it's
like,
true, I've never heard that. That's a good theory.
I've never heard it either, but it just like, I don't think it's coincidental, right? That like, look at Alaska, the wilderness. Like there's too much there. There's Yosemite. Like, okay, when was he fucking president?
The time frame, you'd have to Google it. I don't know. I don't think it says on there, does it?
Yeah, 1901, 1909. Okay,
Turn of the century. Holy fuck.
that's only. It's only 50 years away from gold. The 49ers football team is based off of 1849 San Francisco gold rush.
Shit.
Yellowstone's not too far away from that 50 years later of that man being president. So, no, I'm not going to. I will never and don't ever want to be the person that is going to just sit there and smear our presidents from the past. And hindsight is 2020, right? Foresight is not even calculable. Pretty amazing what some of these guys have done. But
Yeah.
sometimes it makes, like, our country's not old. The United States is not fucking
No, it's
old.
not. And people talk so much shit and they have no clue. The pressure of what this place has accomplished in such a short time. And where it started. It's madness.
We're, like, I think about this quite often when I go, okay, Columbus lands on the East Coast 1492. Within 30 years, fucking, like, Cortez or De Leon or Coronado or whoever is all the way down and around the fucking, the Cape, the Horn of South America, right? And up the West Coast and raiding Aztecs, Mayans. The missions are created in the 1600s. They don't talk about that. Like, the same, like, pilgrims weren't even landing at fucking Plymouth Rock when missions were being established on the west coast of North and South America.
Yeah. Fucking insane.
Cortez, Colorado, is right here. Like, yes, we have all these names of Spanish missions up along the west coast, but did you like the Indiana Jones movies when you were growing up?
Of course. Fucking love them.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, was that your favorite fucking Indiana Jones movie?
My favorite was the first one.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right, that was my favorite.
So my favorite was the Last Crusade, where River Phoenix starts off and they're in fucking Utah and they're in this like, they're Boy Scouts. They end up in this random, like, mine and there's some kind of bandit, like treasure hunters digging, and they find the cross of like, I can't remember if it was Cortez or Coronado. But I mean, Ponce de Leon, Coronado, Cortez, like these guys are famous explorers on the west fucking coast that went down and around. Like after all of, like they had tried going through the fucking Panama and all their fuckers got wiped out by malaria. And they had already learned that they need to go down and around, like they're not going to make it through and come over to the west coast. Those 1600, those time periods are not covered in history at all. Because the Spanish, like we hear about the Spanish conquistadors, but do they ever put a fucking clock in a calendar or anything like that? Like, they killed, raped, fucking pillaged Aztecs, fucking
savagery.
native, everything on the fucking South America and the west coast of that shit. And that was all happening during the 1500s and beyond. You know? It wasn't till like around the 1800s that all of a sudden America's calendar starts in the southwestern United States. Arizona, you know, Texas, Tucson, and like that was all they called it Mexico. California. Colorado was a fucking Texas.
Just Wild West shit.
It was part of Texas.
Yeah,
You
fucking
know?
insane.
So you don't know, I like, point being is just like you don't hear about all this shit. So got sidetracked a little bit. Just to finish off.
Yeah, I was gonna say we gotta probably put a pin in it at some point. I don't
We
know.
do.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
We do, and I want to finish off just with. I do want to finish off with like your general thoughts of growing up in Canada, like loving it, every bit of it, family, home life, the people, everything. Because like everything that we started with, like there was never an element of like you never once said like the government or this or the that. Like I don't think the government was ever any reason that you had ever pursued anything other than growing up in Canada. It was just kind of
It was perfectly fine. It was great.
And
it has gone downhill very brutally and rapidly in my lifetime.
so, but, which, there's part of me that's like, is that fucking age? Is that realizing what the hell is really going on that we never really realized before? But in your journey to, like, what was the test like? Like, I asked you that kind of before.
Which test? To become a citizen?
To become a citizen.
It was very cursory knowledge. It was very simple. That test.
But the knowledge that, like, you say cursory, and I think that you would probably be a natural-born citizen in whatever test it was that you had to take.
Yeah, I think another way to look at it is they're trying to quantify something that's not necessarily super easy to quantify. And when you sit and interview me, like when they interview me, they know within 30 seconds that I'm the kind of person you want becoming a citizen. Citizenship is about attracting the best and brightest, about people who want to be American. They want to join the experiment. They want to join the strength and be a part of it, right? They understand that. And I think when they meet me or like met me, they just knew. And that's not meant to be cocky, it's reality. Because I know how I've always felt about it.
Because that's where I was going to ask
that
you.
That test wouldn't be able to... If someone was a cheese ball and someone was gaming the system to become a citizen, that test isn't going to prove it out. Mm-hmm. All that test is going to prove is that someone sat down and spent several hours studying the fucking questions.
So, this is a fun way to finish this off with.
Yeah.
Because this is all about, like, what would you do? Okay. Let's say I'm the United States government and I'm looking for the type of people that I would want to become American citizens. And let's not say I want the best. I don't necessarily need the brightest. Because you're not, chances are, if you're really striving to become an American citizen, you're an idealist, and maybe you're not the most educated. Like, what would you be like if you were to have, let's say you were to have 5 questions of a person that was applying to become a U.S. citizen, what do you think those 5 questions would be?
Well, I'm going to unfortunately I know what you're saying, and I can try to get into that as more of a thought/emotional experiment after the fact, but you're starting it with a premise that I don't necessarily see it as. Traditionally, you need to be brought in on a work visa or a student visa. If it's a work visa, you need to be showing exceptional talent that can't be replaced with an American by that employer in that moment. They need to show, using pretty robust means, that they've exhausted all options to find another MWD field technologist, right? They can't just hire you. Like, you can't come here as a plumber. You can't come here as an electrician. You
don't think so?
Fuck no. No. I'm talking about getting a work visa. How to get a work visa. Like,
okay. Like, you're in the literal form.
Okay, so... Well, see, but this is what I'm saying, is I have a disagreement about the nature of immigration into this country. Traditionally, you either had to be an exceptional student who came here on a student visa. The U.S. government allocates a certain number of each type of visa to each country in the world every single year. Every single country on the entire list of people who are eligible to immigrate to the United States, there's an allocation, and it changes every single year for each type of visa. Traditionally, you come in on those. The disconnect is this idea that, like, we need to be importing importing low-wage, fucking low-skill workers to fill our work needs. We don't need that. We never should have. That shit should have been fucking made illegal to begin with. Hiring should have. The reason they did is because corporations are greedy, large-scale firms are greedy, and if they can hire someone and pay them a third what they would have to pay a fucking American, of course you're going to hire them. It's unchecked corporate greed. It was never supposed to go that way. We're not supposed to bring people in like that. That's not how the system was designed, and I don't agree with doing it that way.
No,
We've gutted the American working class.
So I don't want.
If you want to get into the spirit of what makes a good immigrant,
see, this is where I'm at.
Okay, then I would ask questions like, why do you want to be an American citizen?
Because, like, okay, I want my great grandparents on my dad's side. They came over through Ellis Island, right?
Yep.
It was. I think it was just before World War I that they came over through Ellis Island and began their American journey through that way. And I'm not, like, as an American, I'm not opposed to having the types of people that would come here with the type of ideology that they want a better life and they want to live in a great fucking place.
Yeah.
So mine would be kind of like, let's assume that they are vetted from the shit. The Al-Qaeda, the fucking all the terrorist organizational elemental shit that is going around in the world, they want to come to the United States and be a U.S. citizen and contribute. And not for the sake of, I mean, look, the hope is that you are going to earn minimum wage because you're a documented, legal, fucking human being. You're not a cash paid roofer where the owner of your company gets to avoid paying workman's comp on your fucking ass and pays you cash. Like, the assumption is like, I want to make American citizens. I want people to be able to achieve citizenship without feeling like it's an impossible fucking bridge to cross.
Yeah.
You know? I don't want it to be the type of bridge that any shitbag can cross. But I want the people that want to be here.
Yeah.
To be able to do it. Like, what would be the 5... maybe that's a hard question. I'm putting you on the spot.
No, it's not putting me on the spot. I should just take it on the surface as what you're asking. To me, that's all right. One, if you were to go to war, which flag are you going to fight under? 2, what citizen do you want to be? 3, actually, number 1, what's the greatest nation in human history? If they don't say America without hesitation, rejected. No, seriously.
I like the fact that you were fucking following up with the question but didn't answer.
Yeah.
All for it.
Yeah, no, it's a fact. Like, I better never see you wave another fucking flag in this country. This shit about Mexicans with a fucking Mexican flag hanging on their fucking property, unacceptable.
Puerto Rico?
It's not a separate country. It's part of America.
Unacceptable.
It's part of America. If you want to wave it, go for it, I guess. I'd see it like waving a Texas flag. Puerto Rico's part of America. But no, number 1, greatest nation in human history is America, without equivocation. I don't say that as a joke. I'm dead serious, and I can argue it to the death on multi-facets. Number 2, which nation will you fight for? Number 3, if it was your family in Mexico going to war with the military against our fucking military here in America, which side are you going to fight on? You better fucking say America. Like, the problem with immigration is it has to be done in a small enough, slow enough quantity to allow assimilation. Part of the reason we're in the trouble we're in is because you have people pouring in unchecked and you're forming enclaves, just like what's happening in Minnesota. We have entire fucking Somali neighborhoods that have zero intention of being Americans. They're not trying to be American. They're not trying to fight for our values. They are trying to build their own little scammy enclaves where there's thousands of them living together, not trying to adapt to our lifestyle
West
at all. It's happening in Canada. We had people from India. Originally, when they immigrated, it was great. There were small enough numbers that they would start assimilating. They would become, now they pour in. They don't try to assimilate. They live in communities where they don't speak English. They buy up local businesses, and what do you think their hiring practices are like? They bought almost all of the Tim Hortons, our famous coffee franchise in Canada, is owned by Indians from India. Who do you think they hire at their places of business? How many white people do you think they hire? Or non-Indians?
I would say 0.
0. If it was the other way around, any white employer who did that would immediately get legal action for discrimination practices, but they get free for all because you can't call it out for what it is. So they're basically usurping our nation from within. They're not assimilating, they're not immigrating, they're not chasing the Canadian dream. They're taking the wealth and the beauty that our nation's built and they're stealing it and using it to create their own little thing, and then Canada will be destroyed in another 30 years and there will be nothing left.
Just as any and every other country that allows this type of practice and behavior will become, is they're here because it's a great opportunity. They're taking advantage of it.
That's right.
It's sad.
And I don't blame them for doing it. Why wouldn't they do it? No, they come from fucking poor ass shithole countries. Why the fuck wouldn't they?
Well, there used to being like, because an honest day's work never got him an honest day's wage. It was lying, cheating, stealing. That the liars, the cheaters, and the stealers were the most profitable and the most progressive, and like that's what worked in the country of their origin. And it.
Well, I think it's
we don't want to see that.
I think it's even more. I don't even think you even need to take it to that level of like moral disparity. How about in the home they came from, they could earn $3 a day, and now they move to Canada and they can earn $200 a day and raise a family of 8 in one home, and it costs them almost nothing, and they live like kings. And now they can buy up local businesses and use completely illegal hiring practices because they're allowed to do it. So now all their family, their 12-year-old nephew is working in their gas station under the table.
What's getting them ahead. What's getting them ahead is that they're getting subsidized by the federal or the parliamental government. That's how they're getting. It's huge.
That's part of it, and it's valid, and it's just as fucking sleazy. It's just like the Somalis. It's huge. Hundreds of millions of dollars given to the Somalis.
I knew people that were of. So in San Diego, there is a huge Chaldean, which is it's an Iraqi Christian, right? They're there based off of religious. They're refugees. They've left their countries. They've been in other countries for a couple of years. They end up in the United States. They're giving certain subsidies. I know of some of these people that own fucking liquor stores where they use their food stamps, go buy out pallets of milk from fucking Albertsons, and then distribute them amongst their family members and sell them at their own liquor stores. There's shit going on around the country but another subject for another day. But the fucking rad part is that, like, with all this shit going on and all the people and all the everything, is like there is a true path to just being every fucking day American. And no matter what country you come from, if you are observing the right values, you can be one of the best Americans on the fucking planet. I would hope that that's what people aspire to be. And it's what I aspire to be. And, I love having you here to even talk about it, because it's like, it's not like you're not a Somalian, you're not a Mexican, you're not a Brazilian, you're not from Greece, you're not from Poland, you're not from Russia, you're not from Kazakhstan or anything else, but there's really no goddamn difference.
No.
And the effort and the desire to just be a good fucking countryman, and even be loyal and be a good countryman to the country that you have grown up in. And if you feel like there's a better opportunity for you somewhere else, pursuing that opportunity and being a good and honorable countryman in that country that you see your opportunity in. And
that'll never happen. I might do business in other countries, but I'll always be thinking like it'll always be America.
I mean, you came from Canada to America. I mean, just as a fucking Indian, and there's nothing to say that. Okay, so we haven't even got into it, right? We're gonna touch on this real quick before we kill it, and it is just that you have seen an opportunity in business that you have found out, that you have gone, I have an opportunity here. If I put my time, my effort, my everything into, there's no reason that I can't be successful in it. And I can pursue everything that I ever want to do. And you could have picked any fucking field and anything in any way, shape, or form with the same amount of drive, the same amount of effort, the same amount of direction, and the same amount of perspective, and led to a successful endeavor. And that is the fucking beauty of the United States of America. And you can be from anywhere on the planet and achieve that absolute very same goal.
100%.
If you're willing to go and work for it and not just try and manipulate some weird systematic bullshit. Steve, thank you for fucking coming. Dude, I've been looking forward to it forever. We have so much more to talk about.
100%.
Guys, thanks again for toughing it out. I know that the audio kind of sucked, but I really appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you that tuned in and watched this thing all the way through. Hope you enjoyed the time with Steve as much as I did. You guys take care. Until next time, I fucking love you. Later.